Oh man. So we've gotten a lot of oh, you guys should show FPV. We've gotten some, you guys should do this and should do that. And just for the people that are joining us now, go back on my Instagram, on Eman's, because Pilots and Pirates, the account is new, but we've been doing this for like 8-9 months already,
Yep.
and consistently. So we have done all the things that you guys are doing. That's where the chase footage comes from. But the problem is, what I realized yesterday, because I want to show you these things, but it's winter and we don't get a chance to sit out here and bullshit like we do in the summertime. So
Right.
just hang tight, because as soon as the weather continues to be this beautiful, this is it. We don't want to be in the cars, but me fingers is freezing.
Listen, it's starting to get warmer now.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
The magic of editing is beautiful because you're gonna flip and go backwards, man. So we're talking about this a pirate.
So when they asked that question yesterday, I sat there and I thought, what is that? Because I really don't know what it means. I know it means something to you,
Yeah.
but what does it mean to me? What it means to me is pilots and pirates, right? All right. Pilots to me are the pilots that fly and push it, but abide by the law. Okay?
I agree, absolutely.
That abide by the law. And what I mean by that is that not that we don't dive buildings, but we do it in the safest possible form to avoid any kind of issue. And the pirates are the ones that don't give a fuck. And they just go do it, which is a whole completely different breed of flying.
Yeah,
you know?
guerrilla
Guerrilla
flying.
warfare. Not good, not bad. I mean, listen, and I don't give a fuck who you are or what kind of accolades you have. If you're diving a building at 3 p.m. when people are fucking walking under it, then you're a maniac, and you're not even a pirate. You're just fucking, like, you shouldn't be doing that.
Right.
That,
I'm not gonna allow you to wear that pirate flag as
No.
a badge of honor.
No, exactly not. But there are pilots that will take the precautions and do it, Sunday, 9 o'clock in the morning, and you're being a pirate, because that's very illegal.
Those are me pirates.
Yeah,
Arr.
yeah, exactly. Pilots, and I don't mean that because I don't do the illegal shit. I'm a park guy, and I consider myself.
You're a pilot.
I'm a pilot. Yeah, exactly. I'm not. I have dove buildings, but like the buildings that I've dove were in China, and there was nothing under them. Like under them was like the roof of like a mall, right? So there was nobody there, so I could dive the building
Flat
at
grounds.
2 p.m, and there was nobody that was gonna get injured. But I don't like breaking the law because I'm terrified of hurting somebody. I'm
Sure.
terrified of hurting somebody.
Man, hurting somebody, hurting yourself,
Yeah.
really, like your future in this as a hobbyist or as a professional, because oh man, that sad story right now that they're pinning, the FAA is pinning I forgot his name, that drone guy, a pirate. He does some sketchy things, but he's an OG, and that's the way people used to push back in the day. So I want to shout out to Philly Drone Life.
Okay.
Yeah, that's his name. Yeah,
Gotcha.
Philly Drone
Yep.
Life, man. The OG, man. Respect and love to him, because it's a very unfair suit, man. They're pinning him down for $180,000 because of there may be either somebody who's ratting, there could be somebody snitching, or they just have their eyes on you on what's being posted on YouTube, because he's been flagged like 5 times. They approached him several times. I got to see this interview. Once again, shout out to the legend Bot Grinder, because I subscribed to him, and I watched the legend religiously, if you will, on YouTube. And this thing came up with Philly Drone Life, man, and it's hard to hear, man, what's happening to one of our brothers, an OG who paid the way and respectfully, set trends for people around his circle, to be the victim of a freaking FAA $180,000 lawsuit, man.
That's sad. But, my man, if you're doing sketchy shit and you're posting it out there and being happy about it, they're gonna come after you.
That's the fine line, though, Papa, right?
They're gonna come after you. They're gonna, like this. The FAA is just aching to come after us,
Yeah.
because they could if they wanted to, but there's nothing to tie to us yet, because we're pushing the lines, we're pushing the boundaries, we're doing more and more risky shit, and that's what's going to cause the FAA to be like, okay, so now you want to play by this? Everybody that flies over 250 needs a 107.
Crazy.
Because, for example, in the pilots, airplane pilots or helicopter pilots, there are different types of licenses. You have the private pilot, which is just a recreational pilot
Okay.
that just flies for a hobby, for fun. Then you have the commercial pilot that the commercial pilot is the step between private and being an airline captain.
Okay.
Right. So as when you go into an airline, commercial pilots are first officers. When you upgrade to being a captain, you get a license that's called the ATP, Airline Transport Pilot.
Shoot.
Airline Transport Pilot. So there's different levels in the airplanes, and they could easily do the same thing for drones. Where now the 107 has a recreational pilot, has a commercial pilot, has a they're not going to be ATP, but there might be another level to it, you know? So they're aching, bro, because this means this for them.
For them.
This means
exactly.
this for them.
It's like,
you know, but it also is going to cost them, because now you got to get a task force, and now you have to figure out a way to enforce all this, right? Because they're not going to have a cop posted at every single park waiting for you to fly.
I don't know, man.
Come up with ways.
There might be moles now, man.
You know?
I feel like there's moles in circles, man. Like the FAA is now planting moles inside circles.
There could be. This has been happening. I remember, wow, maybe like 4 years ago, 5 years ago, a pilot that's no longer around, Days FPV. I don't know if you ever met Days. Days was an OG when I stepped on the set.
All right.
He was actually on one of when Rotor Riot came to New York. He was on that video with Cheese, Days, and Brooklyn Mark. That was their crew. And
Let me put it up.
Mike Wash, that was his name, Mike Wash. And they were on the OG Rotor Riot. And Days put up, I think at that time it was an 85X. It was something that had a nice camera that recorded, or a DVR that was like one of the whoops, one of the beta flights.
Okay.
And he flew in Times Square. And he got a letter by the FAA, and he had to go in and fucking talk to them and shit. Got a warning, but they've been after us forever, you know?
Yeah.
And he is one of many pilots that have stories like this, you know?
Right.
So eventually, there's gonna be so many stories that they're gonna have to do something about
That's
it.
happening now, man, which is why the OGs here in New York are, you know, trying to tell, you know, the younger generation or the newer pilots, man, you know, stick to your guns, but, you know, don't go wilding out, you know, create a lane, but don't go making some noise where, you know, they're paying attention to us like under a microscope, man, because that's really gonna suck.
Absolutely.
For real, that's really gonna suck.
And it's as simple as you forgetting to tighten one of your props. And then you're coming off of a huge dive, throttle up super hard, and the fucking prop nut just goes flying off, and you lose total control. I'll tell you a story.
Oh, let's go.
Diving a building in China. So I had the buildings that I started diving were like 25, 30 stories.
Yeah.
And then when I moved into a new part of town, I had like 15-story buildings that I could dive, and I just stayed there. I stopped traveling.
Cool.
But they were at such a position that I could go over them and come down on the other side.
Fresh.
Super dope.
Right.
They were not, because where I was sitting, I could see the entire building, and I could
So
go around,
cool, so
power
cool.
loop them and stuff. So it's fire. On one of them, I'm sitting there, and there's a little kid in front of me, and he sets a fire off. And we're like in a dead field, because like the fields die over there because they don't water them in the winter. And it doesn't really rain where I was in China. So the kid starts setting a fire off, and like shit starts spreading quick.
Okay.
So now like I get up and I'm throwing water at them with them and shit, and we're stomping on the fire and shit. Bro, the mother beat the shit out of the kid. Slapped the shit. But in this haste of trying to turn this fire off, I lost track of what I was doing. And what I was doing was replacing props. So I had tightened 3 out of the 4 propellers.
Oh.
And I take off, and it didn't sound. It was just tightened enough. I had tightened enough with my hands where it stuck.
Yeah,
right.
just to take off.
So there was no sound to the quad. It sounded like a regular quad. So I take off, and I climb the building, and I do a power loop, and all of a sudden I'm like, whoo!
Oh, yeah.
Because one of the props had flown off, and I fucking nosedived into the garden.
Thankfully, it was the garden.
Yeah. I nosedived into the garden. Nothing happened to the quad, but something as simple as that. Nothing actually failed on my quad. It was pilot error, but it fucking happened.
Yeah.
So now, put that into a cosmopolitan city like New York, Chicago, where people are doing things recklessly, diving, and this happens to you, and not even you hit somebody, but the battery explodes and you cause a fire. Bro.
Mad variables, for sure.
The people that are doing this recklessly, I think, don't really think about the consequences of what they're so trusting of their drone. Oh, this never happened to me before. Why would it happen now? But it could happen. It could happen, you know? And that, because of that could, is why you have to be extra safe. Because if these drones were invincible and nothing would ever happen, then fuck yeah, man, go on. Hit the fucking emergency brake like the combo drone, and
and
that's
let it
it,
come
you're
back
good.
home.
But they're not.
It's
We
not
build
like that,
these things.
right.
We build them. There is no GPS. There is no autopilot. There is no fail-safe that is going to help you fucking come out of this thing, especially if a component malfunctions. You have to be very, very careful.
Yeah, man. Super duper important. Always to keep coming back, man, to take your time. Taking your time. And how many times have we been here talking about this? And guess what? I still go out there. I still get excited. And I still try to, you know, because I need to get up in the air. I got to get up. I got to get up. I'm on limited time here. I got to rip and dip, man, in those situations, you know.
Rip and dips are called for because it's like one pack and you're out, you know? So, like, it's called
Couple
for.
packs.
Yeah, a couple. But when you're, and rip and dips are normally like, there's nobody there. That's why you're ripping and dipping because you're trying to get something out of the situation. But when you come to a sesh, now, if you're at a bando, but even at a bando, people are sleeping in bandos.
They
you have
are.
no idea.
They actually are.
And you have no idea, you know? So now you take off and you smack into the head of a bum. That's not a good look, bro.
Yeah, or an unfortunate person who's looking for a place to stay or to keep warm, and then you piss them off because now you're invading their territory.
Bro, it could even be as simple as a group of people just trying to light up a J and like in peace, you know?
Or the Urban X kids just, you know, roaming around the bando while you're flying.
The parkour people, like it's multiple different types of people that will be at a bando and at abandon anything, you know? We're not the first people to go explore this shit. People have been doing it since forever. Looking for a spot to get away.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Shout out to Trappy. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Shout out to Trappy, bro,
sure.
and the whole team Black Sheep. They're the
real.
ones, they're the originators of most of this shit.
Yeah, the explorers, man.
Yep.
The people who wanted to explore the skies, you know, with wings and soar the mountains of where they live, man. Show those beautiful, with the backdrops, you know, that atmosphere is just amazing, man. And that idea that he had, man, spawned into something like years later into what it is we're doing, man. And we got to talk about the safety behind these things, man, for sure.
You know, bro, that video that caused all the controversy between Brock Grinder and Drone Camp, the things that Brock Grinder said on his video touched me dearly because I belong to the era where Brock Grinder started. You know, I'm a couple years after, but that was my generation of pilots. And that rotor riot of Steele, Umagad, Sharpoo, Chad Nowak, all these guys, those were dope ass videos that you were engaged and it was funny. Basically what we do here. It was the same type of video vibe of you're like, oh man, I wish I was there talking to these dudes.
Well, it's not the same. It just had that feeling, that vibe.
Well, I say that because we get a lot of comments of like, man, I think I could just chill with you guys there. And we're like, absolutely. It's always open for anybody that wants to come. Just let's coordinate it. Once it gets warmer, we'll be holding some Pilots and Pirates meetups. You know?
all around the 5 boroughs.
Come
for sure.
Come through. And if you're part of the gig, you're part of the gig. But I resonate with a lot of the things that Bot Grinder said on that video because that is what FPV is to me, those years, you know? And yes, evolution is unavoidable, you know, you have to evolve.
Right.
But the thing is that like the essence, the spirit of FPV will forever be a bando, a park, a fucking a drifting, shit like that.
Yeah,
the whole cinematic
the
line is not FPV freestyle, it's FPV cinematic, you know? And we're consistently moving further and further away from that. And I have been proven 10 times over that FPV freestyle is not dead. And 100%. I have been put onto so many pilots recently that I'm like, okay, I was just missing it, you know? But it doesn't dominate. It's there, without a doubt, but it doesn't dominate. And what dominates is the cinematics, you know? And that's just people trying to make money off this shit.
Yeah, that's because the market, again, we're going to keep tapping back into that because the market right now is selling to that person.
Yeah.
That specific person. There was a huge change after the combo drone came out, man, where it was user-friendly to just throw a set on and just automatically go up and send her.
Absolutely, bro. They created a $1,500 equipment that now any fucking person can just buy.
Yeah, roll over.
Yeah.
You have the Avata.
You have, listen, and not just you have the Avata, but for example, you have a huge percent of RC cars that see the transition and now they have something else to try. Have a huge fixed wing, you know, because these things existed way before us.
Right.
But now because they're making it so easy to cross over, it's like, well, okay, I could buy it at Best Buy. If I don't like it, I'll return it.
For real. User accessibility is like right there, man. Just reach And Best Buy is right there. You can grab yourself a whole drone kit and come home to fly.
Yeah, exactly. No problem. You're up in the air within hours.
That's it.
No beta flight, no binding, no tuning.
Hey,
nothing.
Mom, content creating.
Yeah, exactly. All of a sudden, you're a content creator flying through the windows of cars and shit. But once upon a time, and what we do, we fly 5-inch drones
Damn right.
with a Tango 2 Pro or whatever your juice of your flavor is,
For sure.
whatever flavor juice you prefer. But these things don't have autopilots. These things, they could fly through cars, but it takes skill. It just doesn't take, let me go to Best Buy and I'll do it. Because the person that goes to Best Buy and buys the Avata will do it on like day one, like after a couple of batteries of, because it's easy,
Just
you
shoot
know?
a straight shot.
Straight shot, especially if you're flying on like DJI mode, the normal mode.
Of course,
where
and
you're
that's
not-
what I mean.
Yeah,
That's what I mean
of
because
course.
it's user friendly. Anyone can pick one of those things up and pretty much fly. It's
Yeah.
just a matter of putting on the goggles,
That's it.
binding the stuff, getting somebody to help you bind it because you probably won't know how to do that right away. But yeah,
You know how many gamers like Call of Duty and all those games, those FPV games, because that's what they are, switch over to this because they're like, yo, this shit is fire? Tons, you know? And
and as they should, man.
absolutely,
You're
bro,
welcome.
the more people come, the better it is for us. But it needs to be said, it needs to be done correctly, safely.
That's the difference between a pilot and pirate.
Yes, sir. And with that,
Oh yeah, to all our pilots and pirates, all our family members that tuned in, that stopped by to say hi. Thank you guys so much.
peace.
Peace, y'all.